Hello people, this week the drawing challenge was to frame the portrait drawings that I was doing using some sort of framing device. I created a little cheat sheet which I actually need to update with a few new frame types, but it was enough variety at the time to choose something from. Some of the frames I chose worked and some of them not so much, but I did try, and I tried to choose a different one for each day so that I could practice those. And I also decided to do a couple of thumbnails with the different frames to see how that would work before diving into the main drawing. It was definitely a challenge, and I think I'm still a little insecure. Well, not insecure, but probably not practiced enough, not yet skilled enough to be comfortable drawing heads. I still think that my pencil work also needs a little bit more practice. Well, actually, a lot more practice, but obviously, I can't spend all my time doing one element at a time. I need to practice more things at once, otherwise, it's just going to take forever, and I'll be in the grave before I learn how to draw properly. But still, there were some good drawings this week and there were definitely some bad ones. So we'll go through each one and give them a bit of a critique and see how they went. And hopefully you can learn something from my mistakes as well. Day one, and I have everything ready, so I just have to do the work. So I did my thumbnails and I tried the overlap, large mass and inverted triangle. I thought the first one was the best, so I went with that. And now that I had a clear vision of what I wanted to achieve, all that was left was to execute the plan that I made in the thumbnail. So now it comes down to all the things that I have practiced so far. I do remember while I was drawing this, I thought it looked pretty good. I was in a good mood, I was having a good day, everything was awesome. But looking at it now, I don't quite have the same view. If I flip it, it looks strange. And I guess I didn't do that while I was drawing, which I probably should have. I might have seen how strange the jaw area looks and how the mouth is sitting kind of weirdly. I can show it if I overlap it. So I've got the two images here. This is the original reference. Obviously it wasn't like this, but I've just made it like this so I can see the edges. And this is my drawing. So if I overlay it, you can kind of see where I'm off with the mouth. Let's see, line up the eyes. And around here, around the head, it was a little bit small. And I made the mouth go in too far in this way. So it should have, you can see my error there. But other than that, it's not too bad. But oh well, the more things like this that I notice, the more that I can spot them in the future, hopefully before I do them, or at least be able to fix them during the process of drawing. Overall, good job on sticking with the thumbnail and practicing that aspect of it, but I could have done better with the actual proportions of the head and the lower part of the head specifically. Day two, and I had in the back of my mind that I wanted to try the interacting with the frame device. So in order to use two different references, and Frankenstein them together to get the head that I wanted and the way the body was facing of another reference. And I think the concept was kind of cool. I just didn't do a good job at all. I really don't like the end result. It's just lacking so much, and I'm not sure why this didn't look as cool as I thought it would in my head. It could be a combination of the lack of any real lighting, because both references were lit from everywhere and I couldn't get that subtlety in my pencil work, which then suffered from my waning enthusiasm, and I just knew it was all going downhill from there. So thumbs up for the concept, both thumbs down from the execution, and let's move on to the next one. Day three, and we try again. You can see the different thumbnails at the top, but I went with the first one and got to drawing. I actually still kind of like this drawing, even though it doesn't look like the reference. I did miss the mark on a lot of the proportions of the head, but on its own, it isn't too bad. Well, you can see the parts where I'm off. I'll overlay the original image, and the top of the head is off. The eyes, I missed the mark on the shape of the eyes. The lips aren't too bad. Overall, like I said, it's not too bad, but yeah, definitely you can see where I've missed it. I haven't been able to draw it accurately. Bear in mind that I don't use any tools or anything to help with proportions. I just eyeball it, so a little bit of error there is probably expected, but it would be nice if I could tighten it up a little bit on the proportions anyway. I actually felt better after doing this one compared to the previous day's disaster drawing. So it put me in a better mood, a better mindset to be able to continue on for the week because I was actually falling behind at this stage. I think day 4 was my best day. I actually think this came out really nice. I do remember having trouble placing the eyes on this angle, and I did have to have a few goes at it, erase it and redraw it a few times and slowly refine it until I got to this. Funny thing is, I actually can't find the reference I used for this. I just had a look back in my Pure Ref board, and sometimes actually quite often I'll add new images onto the board if they take my fancy, but I must not have saved this one onto it, so I can't even find it in my Pinterest saves either. I don't know where it went. It's just really weird. It just disappeared like that. But obviously I should have been more careful in saving any new references, so I can't really critique whether I got that part accurate. But as far as the framing device, which is what we're learning in this case, I used negative shape, or actually it could be a positive shape. Is it a hole? Is it a circle? It also could definitely have been taken further if I was going to flesh it out. But as far as trying out the different frames, I actually really like this. I might hate it in a month's time, but for right now, I'll give it a thumbs up. So this is day 5, and it was really, really rushed because, like I said before, I was falling behind, and these challenges were starting to take up a lot more time than I had originally planned. And it's getting to the stage where it's just taking over an hour to do these and doesn't leave me much time or energy to do other stuff. And well, this one obviously didn't take that long, and it does look like it's rushed, and it was rushed, and it doesn't look anything like the reference. On its own, it's kind of okay. I'd probably give it a half thumbs up. But if you compare it to the actual reference, it is way off, and in ways that I just couldn't seem to replicate from the reference. I don't know if it was because I was so rushed, but I just couldn't process what I was seeing into the pencil and what I was drawing. But as far as what I was learning this week, which is using framing devices for portraits, if we come down to that, for this one I chose the organic frame, and I think that overall I think the frame works, and if we don't compare this to the reference, it's an okay job. I definitely wouldn't give it 5 stars or anything like that. I actually feel kind of disappointed that I drew this, but that's the week. That's the ups and downs of drawing, so I'll just get over it and move on. So what did I learn this week? Biggest things that stand out is that I'm still not really confident drawing heads, which is both a surprise and a bit of a disappointment to me. There must be something that I'm missing, or that I'm not doing, or not remembering. I just can't imagine how many heads I would have to do before I start feeling confident. Do you ever feel confident? I don't know, but I guess I'll just have to take the ups and downs as long as I have the ability to keep going and to believe that eventually things will get better. I mean, things are already better than what they used to be in my older drawings. If I look back to my earlier years, they were a lot worse than what they are today. And I do feel like I'm learning new concepts, which I wasn't aware of before. And the fact that I can actually consider those concepts now means that I am learning. I just wish that my hand and eye coordination would catch up. So that's probably something that I can work on. Perhaps shape and form recognition, construction. If I can draw the same head from different angles, perhaps that might help. But that would take a lot of brain power, though, to figure out. I might blow a few fuses trying that. It could possibly be something that I could try for next week, though, doing head constructions and not doing any refining or pencil work. I might try that. The next week's challenge is going to be construction. Let's see how that goes, and let's just always keep learning and drawing and getting better. So yeah, we'll just keep doing that.